Streaming and recording. Let's hit the news. Damn, that's good weed.
It's not nice to lie.
Not lying, I'm acting.
Oh.
This is how you act.
Like
If I get hired for a commercial when weed's legal, and they're like, "Oh man, you are the poster boy of weed.
Mm-hmm.
We need you to do a commercial for us." I'll go, "Sure thing." God damn, that's smooth.
Yeah.
Finer weed I have not smoked.
Professional lying.
Yeah, acting. That's what professional lying is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess there's also lawyers.
Mm-hmm. Liars.
Professional liars, as I always call them in court.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the stand because I go to court a lot.
Right.
You know, I get in constant trouble with the law.
Mm-hmm.
I don't commit crimes, but I'm usually in the pools of people that commit the crimes.
Yeah. So you get RICO'd.
Rico?
Yeah. RICO.
Who's Rico?
Rico. Suave.
Who's the guy in Upright Citizens Brigade with the bong that always just shows up at the crime scene?
Bong boy.
I'm kind of like him, where I'm just there.
He just shows up.
I don't take part in the crimes. I just happen to be where they are. Story of my life.
Jeez. If only.
So then I'm on the bench and I go, "Hey, what's up, professional liar? You got any questions for me?" That's the story.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So what's in the news? Let's see. Well, we are going to talk a bit about Bitcoin. You've been hearing listening and watching a lot of mainstream reports and the like.
Yeah, the lamestream media finally is starting to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, there have been articles coming out almost every day.
Yeah.
Like the last week. And
Bloomberg has been doing a piece on Bitcoin for like every other day for the last week. And they've been progressively getting more realistic. Like the first one was just the, which we talked about on air, was the one girl proposed it, and then there was another person who didn't know anything about it, and then the guy who didn't know anything about it who kept talking about it like he knew about it, and like talking about how it was shitty. And
that's what a lot of people on the news do.
Right. And then the last one was the same girl who proposed the idea, but then they also had like a guest on. And
they had Gaston?
Yeah, they had Gaston on the show, and he was all like, "I'm ripped and I'm an asshole." But the guest, they had like one good guest and one guest again. They try to be balanced. They like to have people from both sides, but it's one of those things where you start to see this pattern where so many people are talking about Bitcoin who don't know anything about Bitcoin. And it's like these financial experts who know about finance, but they don't know about Bitcoin. And so they're trying to like tell you that it's like this terrible thing, and everyone's calling this like a bubble and stuff, but you can't do that because this isn't.
Well, some of that only time will tell.
Right.
We don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's gonna burst or anything like that, but it does have a lot of parallels to like the previous like .com bubble where that kind of picked up a lot of steam, got really big really fast, and then went away.
Yeah, who knows who goes to .coms anymore?
No, that's not what it was. It wasn't about people going there. It was people were investing way too much money, and like people just would come up with any idea, any .com name, and basically have an idea for a company and get so much money without having to put the back end and infrastructure in.
And then that cemented the foothold on the internet, which is what this is doing. Which
a lot of companies lost a lot of money and went belly up, but yeah, it definitely did.
That's how capitalism works.
And yeah, well, I
bet on the wrong horse, you lose.
Yeah, but this same thing, if anything does happen to Bitcoin, Bitcoin's not the only player in the game.
Right.
And there are other cryptocurrencies and digital currencies emerging here, primarily Witcoin. Just kidding. Well, you listen to last episode for more information on Witcoin. But like Litecoin here is a new player in the game it's really promising. But Bitcoin isn't. It doesn't seem to be popping, so to speak. It's just a lot of people have held on, have been very. There've been a lot of supporters of it, really strong supporters, and it's not like this is something that a bunch of people are randomly investing in. I mean, I suppose they are, but it's based on a very solid algorithm that only will disperse so much of it, similar to a commodity like gold.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot more sure than a commodity like gold. We're actually sure of the exact amount that's out there. It's all, it's not changing. It's not like it's an abstraction on gold, like a lot of other currencies that we use are. It like is the commodity itself being traded,
right.
Which is really cool. That way, like the value is kind of what it is.
Well, the thing that frustrates me about everyone, all the financial experts coming in and like, oh, this is a bubble and it's going to burst. And it's like, you don't know that because you've never seen this happen. You've never seen
this
before.
Well, I think a lot of people, like, especially that are covering it, like, in the media who are kind of outspoken against it, they're scared of it.
Yeah,
they don't know. None of us really know, like, what's going to happen, but the people who don't know and, like, are very clueless on it, they're They're the ones who are like, this is shit. This isn't going anywhere.
That's what we say all the time. The person who knows the least about a subject is the most outspoken against it.
Yeah.
Totally. It's really sad because I'm watching all of these news reports, everything that comes up, CNBC, Fox, Bloomberg, anyone who does news on Bitcoin, I'm paying attention to it, right?
Yeah.
And it's really sad when the Fox reports are less ridiculous about it than, like, Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Like, the financial network is supposed to be, like, really unbiased, I would think, and just give you what's going on with money, instead of, like, trying to throw in their opinions and, like, oh, well, this is shitty.
So much of the financial market is about conjecture, and, like, with stocks and everything, it's all the analysts who are observing patterns, and, like, they give their 2 cents on, like, which way the market and stuff is going. Very little of it is just the raw data.
Right, but those people actually know what the thing is there's the only experts on Bitcoin right now,
though, too.
Sure, of course. But the only people who are experts on Bitcoin are the people who use and know what they're doing with Bitcoin. The people who seem to be talking on all these shows are financial experts, but they don't understand anything.
No experience with it.
They don't know anything about cryptocurrencies. They're trying to compare it to how the U.S. dollar holds up against gold when the two are incomparable.
There are elements of, like, the U.S. dollar that you can look at, and there are elements of, like, gold, but it's not the dollar versus gold. Like I was saying, This is, like, a digital commodity in itself. Right. That's, like, in a whole new ballpark.
Yeah. And the fact that people don't understand, it's funny because you see, like, the people who actually do know what they're talking about being interviewed sometimes, and they just get these looks, like this constant, like, facepalm look on their face when the other people talk about it, because they really don't know. And, like, specifically, I don't know this guy's name, but this guy on Bloomberg, he's just, like, so outspokenly against Bitcoin, and he can't ever just talk about it. He has to talk about it with some kind of injected negativity towards it. So he can't just say, like, oh, this new currency. He has to call it, like, a fad, or he has to say, this dangerous new currency, things like that, and add all this extra rhetoric on top of just tell me about Bitcoin. Just tell the world about Bitcoin. Don't interject all your rhetoric and your own personal opinions about Bitcoin. If you're...
Well, and again, this comes back to the fundamental problem with so much journalism nowadays anyway, and that's why we turn to things like the internet, where there's maybe not quite as, like, edited down coverage, but you get a lot more unfiltered sources that are more based on data, and they're not answering to, like, ratings, and they don't need to be sensationalized.
Right.
But we're seeing that clearly happening here, where we've been, spending a lot of time with Bitcoin, and we can, see a lot of the obviously uneducated people talking on it, and it's very frustrating. And it's the same with anything on the news, when you have any clue about what's going on and you hear them just, spouting off what they need to spout off to kind of make it sound like news, like entertaining news, it's frustrating as hell.
It's frustrating because there's this same girl on Bloomberg, woman, who keeps presenting this Bitcoin story just keeps getting attacked by everyone else on the panel. And it's like, of the 3 pieces that I've seen that Bloomberg's talked about Bitcoin, she is like on the side of just talking about, like, every time she makes some kind of mention about how she's just telling us about it, that it's not like she supports Bitcoin or even really knows that much about it, but it's a thing, and it's a huge thing, and it's the thing that doesn't really look like it's going anywhere anytime soon, but forward, you know?
Yeah.
And to have someone who's actually trying to be a journalist about it and not be biased and try to explain to the best of their knowledge while acknowledging that they don't have a lot of knowledge on the subject, and to see them constantly get attacked by everyone else on the panel is really frustrating.
Yeah, well, it's like when you see, I mean, this reminds me of that thing you were talking about earlier. Who were you saying it was, with the science thing and politics?
A family member posted something about the Pope. Was that it?
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, a family member one of my family members who is very conservative and is a good deal of their posting on Facebook revolves around criticizing the president and the Democrats and all that stuff. They're bitching about stimulus packages that went towards AIDS research and stuff. But it also lends itself to this bit, which is they posted a thing about the Pope saying, like, apparently Pope Francis said, like, don't spend your time complaining. It's like a wasted life. And they're all like, yeah, the Pope is right. And it's like, you guys complain about stupid shit that you're wrong about most of the time, all the time.
Yeah. Wasn't there something else? That's, I don't think that was it.
I don't know.
Well, no, yeah.
Oh, the Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Maybe?
The science.
I'll just keep spitting out. There's at least interesting bits in all these, whether they're it or not. This is good stuff.
the biggest benefit to being scientifically literate is knowing when to call people out on their bullshit.
That also wasn't it, but that's a good one.
Okay.
Shit, it was someone who was saying the science, like, was a liberal, like, it was part of the liberal agenda or something.
It was something. Oh, no. It's about. It was against the. That the concept of a decentralized currency is, like, counterintuitive to the status quo and all that shit. That's part of it. I don't know. There's a lot of.
Well, I don't know. But I thought you said something about, like, how, like, they were, someone had, like, said that science was, like, part of the.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
liberals something.
It was. Yes. Now I remember what it was. It was the. Yeah. It was that, like, science is the machine of, like, a liberal educational system or something, and it's and it was, like, politicizing science is a tool of the Democratic Party.
There we go.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Yes.
That science,
okay, that's what I was thinking.
That allegedly the scientific community is a tool of the Democratic Party,
which is crazy. Because I was saying, it's like
the community doesn't live in the United States.
Right, the scientific community is usually very removed from politics.
Yeah,
they're probably the most moderate people you would ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
They're very, unbiased either way. They are about the raw data and the information. They're not even about making a lot of judgments after that. It's kind of like figuring out what the core of it means and then going on.
Yeah.
But I feel like that comes up. The reason I thought of that was when you're talking about, like, this journalist who's in between, like, these very far right or left, like, media, whatever you want to call them, the people that are, like,
pundits.
very slanderous.
Pundits.
Sure, there you go. And it's like they just want to get the information across, but whatever they try and say is, like, the person with far less information is just ready to rip them down and say, well, here's the the sensationalist part about it, blah blah blah. This is crazy or not? And they're like, well, here's the information. This is like, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say a lot.
And the guy kept saying, like, when they kept going to like the other people, he kept leading really badly, and he was like leading like, so tell us how this is dangerous and why people should be worried about investing in it and why it's not very consistent and how hackable it is. And it's like he's trying to focus on all the negative parts of it, where it's like he just thinks that because it's a technology-based, like a computer-based thing, that like a hacker would just be able to bring down the whole system in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it is something you don't want to just look at the positives. You want to see what, potential negative impacts there are.
Right.
And I think, there are issues to think about, like, when you have a decentralized currency, the government in that doesn't get any money or anything from...
Oh! That was the best part of that.
Here we go.
That was the best part of the whole thing, is when he was like, listen, now the reason why we invest in fiat currency is because there's governments and banks that back it, and you can trust it, because if they mess up, they go to jail. And I almost rage quit the video. I was like, when did any bankers go to jail?
Yeah, I think that's the big deal that Elizabeth Warren, her big fight right now is that no one's been punished for this.
Yeah, I think that's
for the banks that are too big to fail.
Exactly.
They haven't been able to fail.
So this guy's claiming like, oh, well, the reason why you can't go with Bitcoin is because there's no one who will go to jail if something gets fucked up. But no one went to jail when they fucked up our economic system in our faces, to our faces, and then had us pay them $700 billion to go spend on fucking yachts and corporate retreats and bullshit that created no jobs that they're going to claim that they did. Oh, well, we created jobs for the four people who attended on our cabin on the cruise ship.
Well, that's amazing.
Fucking people. Swear to God.
Well, just for the record, the Bitcoin is worth $1.41. Oh, I'm sorry. The decimal's a couple places over. $141.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot more.
Yeah, if it was down to $1, buy.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Unfortunately, no. For you buyers. For you owners, though, hey, still on the upswing.
Yeah.
141. It's been kind of around there for like the past few days, but it jumped down to like the 20s, and then it's...
Well, you're not going to see a lot. You're not getting a lot of trading volume right now with Mt. Gox being down and stuff.
Are they down right now?
I thought they still were. I thought Prev was still updating from another source.
Well, it says, I don't think it was because Mt. Gox was down. I think they were just delayed in their stuff.
Yeah, but then
they go down altogether.
I thought they shut it down for a day or two to catch up or something. I don't know.
That might be. I don't know. But they are still getting it from another source.
And they're going to start exchanging Litecoin on the 10th.
That should be pretty cool.
So that's going to do a lot. Basically, Litecoin is a huge thing because it is perpetuated by the Bitcoin. Like the Bitcoin, because it's so valuable, can just blow Litecoin up.
Well, yeah, people can buy a lot of that and kind of create that value in it from that, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's also the benefits we've talked about before, where you can mine it on a less powerful machine, like the ASIC miners. Which, by the way, here's some interesting conjecture. I think those are going to be shipping very, very soon. I noticed yesterday, as did a lot of people, the pre-order prices have doubled on Butterfly Labs, which they said they were going to do. I think once they finally released them. And actually, I think a few days ago, one of the employees there said it wasn't a sure thing, but they were possibly going to be shipping by the end of this week. So they seem to be getting very, very close to the end, and they adjusted the specs on there. Some of them got lowered a bit. And weren't you saying they're going to be giving
basically the
jalapenos?
The jalapeno was supposed to be 4.5 gigahash. But they dropped the 30 and the 60 down to 25 and 55.
Instead of, was it 30 and 60?
Yeah, so now they're just going to give everyone who got those a jalapeno as well.
That's
which is cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So.
And
I think, it sounded, someone said that's, someone on the forum said that was the case. Someone else said, like, no, you still get the original thing, it's just a different machine or something. I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
It's always very unclear with Butterfly Labs because you have to rely on the forums, and not everyone posting on there has any idea what they're talking about. So.
Right. Luckily, there are a couple threads on there that are locked down, and you can see when an employee posts on there too. So sometimes that information on the forums is what you can count on, but it's interjected with all the discussion on the matter
and people being pissed off and slanderous and whatever.
But it's it's definitely an exciting time because once those start getting shipped out, we finally get to see how they're going to affect the market, and hopefully we'll be getting to play with one for a while. But they can't use those for Litecoin, so those won't affect the Litecoin market unless people mine a lot of Bitcoin and then buy the Litecoin with the Bitcoin.
Right, which is I think what is going to happen.
That's actually not. Yeah, it's probably.
I mean, if the community is gonna back this stuff the way it should, that's the smart move.
Right. Well, and here's the deal: when people are buying it is when the value goes up.
Right.
So you take this Bitcoin that you can mine for free, buy cheap Litecoin, and then everyone does this, and then that value of Litecoin, as you all keep buying it, the value keeps going up.
Or just mine Litecoin. I've only been mining for a week. I already have a Litecoin.
Certainly, but I mean with the ASIC chips, like I say, those you can't directly mine for Litecoin with those, so you're stuck with your same mining. But if you can mine the Litecoin with your old machine that you're using to get Bitcoin, and then use your new ASIC machine for Bitcoin, and use a part of the Bitcoin you mine to buy the Litecoin, then you can just bring the whole economy up, help yourself, add value to the whole thing.
Well, and they both can boost each other too. That's the whole idea of the whole Bitcoin being gold, Litecoin being silver, is so that you can exchange between them off of their values, and they can keep each other going. Yeah. And so I think this next big push after Mt. Gox starts trading Litecoin is going to be people boosting up Litecoin to get that to be a concrete, institution. And then once they're both pretty much settled, I mean...
But who knows when they'll be settled? That's what... This is all... A lot of it's up in the air, but it's... Even if they settle around where they are now, there's a huge market out there, and there's a lot of it to be spread around.
I think it's going to keep going up.
There was a scary thing, though. Might be scary. There's one pool that's at 44% of the market.
48.
48?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Jeez.
BTC Guild just hit 48% today.
Which is... It may or may not be a terrible thing, but what it means is if they get 51%, they have control over the market pretty much.
Yeah, basically.
And that's one of the things with these cryptocurrencies that you want to avoid, and that's why you need a broad acceptance so that no one party gets a major stake in it, so to speak. So it is spread out.
So anyone who's listening to this who's mining and you're on BTC,
stop mining.
Move to somewhere else.
Please, for the sake of the community, move somewhere else.
The whole
Especially
idea
if you're an ASIC chip or an ASIC miner, don't add that to their pool, please.
Well, the thing is, if you have an ASIC miner, you should pool up with the smaller pools.
And you're going to
they're
probably an awesome pool.
Yeah, and I don't want BTC Guild to go under.
Right, but they need to be aware that this is...
The whole point of decentralization is to decentralize, and if all you're going to do is take a decentralized currency and centralize it around one group of people, you just fucked up the whole plan.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and I think...
Although, I imagine if they do hit that mark, they're going to be hacked like fucking shit.
Oh, yeah.
And hackers may even take them down below that 51%.
I mean, that's what they've been talking about with these, DDoS attacks on these different pools and things like that. Mm-hmm. Pretty much what they're saying is that those are, that's the black hand of the community that continually keeps balance over the system. That it's when someone gets too big, they just DDoS the shit out of them and knock them back down to level pegging with everyone else and give someone else a chance. And then if they get too big, you DDoS the shit out of them and knock them back down a peg.
Yeah.
And so no one entity can have a major stake in this.
Well, and it's going
system.
there have been people just been able to hack the databases and stuff because on InstaWall it was because they didn't set it up for robots and stuff that were able to scrape information. A similar thing happened with Coinbase. I found out today it wasn't too terrible. But basically, anyone who was using Coinbase, which we actually were, we are still on our website for donations, these bots were able to scrape any pages that had the donate or a buy now, any merchant tools, and it was able to take the account email address, and that's all the information they were able to get. But then what these hackers were doing that got this information was sending fake emails to these email addresses as Coinbase, asking for them to sign in with their passwords. It was a phishing scam.
Right.
And then people were actually, doing that and then giving away their passwords and getting their accounts hacked that way. So luckily, they didn't get any more information than your email address. And if you do have a Coinbase account, make sure you don't, ever respond to logging in requests from email. Only ever log in directly from going to the site. But it's so if they have our email address, who gives a shit? We get, it's a Gmail address. You can mark it as spam.
Right.
But it is unfortunate that because it's such a new currency, these companies are building these new models around this, and they're going to mess up and have a couple security holes while they're figuring it out.
Sure.
But through this, future companies will be able to look at these, case studies and say, remember when Coinbase and InstaWallet got hacked? We got to remember to make sure our robot, scripts are...
I mean, I thought that was part of this whole system. The whole idea is about trying to hack. Isn't Bitcoin based on trying to hack transactions?
But it's not even hacking the transactions. They're hacking the systems people are building around it. And when you have like a cash system, this is the equivalent of someone breaking in the back door because they were able to disable your alarm or something.
Yeah.
Or like I don't even know what good physical examples, but it is essentially breaking into a system. They're not breaking the currency. They're breaking the systems that are trying to hold the currency.
Yeah.
So it's like when you're doing something like this, you're essentially building a bank, a small-ish bank, or potentially huge. I mean, Coinbase is taking like $1 million a month and more, I think now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of money that you're responsible for.
Blow through the roof when Litecoin is openly traded.
Yeah, when you can get Litecoin, it's traded on BTCE right now, which is cool. But yeah, the more it's exchanged and the more it's traded, the more it's going to continue to pick up value and be of value. But yeah, one of the big things like that people are saying with Bitcoin as a downside is that they were saying the money isn't like taxed and stuff, or it's so like you could pay someone in Bitcoin and it's like paying them in cash. You're like paying under the table, so that the government doesn't see any chunks of that. And that would have done Wesley Snipes some good, who had gone to jail for 3 years for not paying his taxes.
But now he's out, so he can go fuck up some vampires.
Absolutely, yeah. He's back in business now, ready to get his shades on.
The Daywalker.
So that it is crazy that it was 3 years in jail. You would imagine it would be like a huge fine for not doing that.
No, but do you get the pattern? Do you understand this pattern? The people
when you live in a capitalist society...
Yes, the people who are the oligarchs don't get in trouble for anything. But if you ever fuck with their money, you go to jail.
Yeah.
They
don't go to jail
right.
for fucking with everyone else's access to their money.
No, they get more money for fucking with everyone else's money. They not only don't go to jail, but they get more money and then they get bonuses for fucking everyone else over with their money. But if you fuck with their money, you go to jail. And that was the big thing. I always come back to this. When people claim like, oh, well, people go to jail, people are accountable for finances in the government and stuff. I'm like, no. One person went to jail, Bernie Madoff. And why did he go to jail? Because he stole from all the bankers that fuck us.
Yeah, he stole directly from the big guys.
He stole from the guys who don't get to go to jail, so that's why he went to jail. Yeah. It's like there's zero accountability.
You don't fuck with the wrong guys. You gotta know who and who not to fuck with.
And that's why I can't stand this argument about like, oh, well, it's scary because it's decentralized. It's like, what has centralized money done for you that was like a good...
Well, I think I was reading an article where it says like literally every fiat currency since like Rome has crashed or like...
Yes, because Rome
gone up, like
fucked
just not
up the system.
But like every single, it's like not a model that works.
It was until Rome fucked it up.
Yeah.
On
but from then on,
since the dawn of recorded financial civilization, every once in a while the world would clear the debt. and hit the reset button, and everyone would start free.
But
and
that's
then
like a day.
And then
you can't
play
do that.
again.
You can't do that now.
No,
that's
because
what they say.
Because the Romans stopped doing that.
Yeah,
and then
it's been fucked up.
And it's been fucked up ever since they did that.
Because we just continue to fall into our black hole.
The people who have the money that can get people indebted to them just keep making money off of the world's debt.
Yeah.
And if, like, think about how many Americans have $10,000 in debt. Now think of how many Americans have $100,000 in debt. Now think of how many Americans have like $500,000 in debt, because that's all it takes if you just go to like school and like law school or school and med school, and that's all it takes. Yeah. And you could be $500,000 in debt just for trying to be a functional member of our society and being well educated. You owe the Black Hand $500,000.
Right. And I mean, and this is one of the awesome reasons that there are programs like Coursera and Udacity popping up, and like iTunes U, where you don't get a degree, but you get the exact like college class, short of talking to the instructor.
And you can pay for like a piece of paper.
Right. Well, and Coursera started doing that, which is really cool. Where you a lot of their classes now, or at least like five or so, do it now, and I'm sure they'll keep expanding.
It's based on the school. It's like Pennsylvania University does it,
and you can always get a Coursera like certificate. Sure. I think that's still a thing for most classes. If you finish it and you like do all these
they have like degree tracks technically.
Yeah, you don't get like it's not like an accredited school, but you can use that if you want to show someone that you actually did it.
If you're on Coursera, you're taking classes from fucking Stanford and you're taking
classes
up
from the world of education, and it's great because you look at the students and like from where they came. Mm-hmm. But it's like there are tons of international students on there. Like,
do you know?
Just
do you
from
know
the
that the rule?
Stuff, it's like, oh, sorry, I'm not from America.
Sorry to like sidetrack and derail a little bit, but you know that did you know that the rule that you can't end a sentence in a preposition was made up by an author who didn't like, or a playwright who did not like playwrights like Shakespeare in them, so he specifically got it to be made into a rule that you couldn't end a sentence with a preposition, so that all of their stuff would sound stupid.
That's lame.
Because he wasn't as talented.
Here's what I say. Who cares about the grammar? Just make words that sound pretty and sound nice, and then you can tell a good story or like a play.
Yeah.
That's why it's fun to make up words like cross-madoogla-boob.
Mm-hmm. You don't know what that is.
Yeah, no one does. Because it's not a thing, but it sounds fun. I remember in like 4th and 5th grade, we got, I guess, introduced to like fake words, or maybe I just realized I could use them. And then I started writing like poems all in gibberish. And it was great because like they had rhythm and they sounded like blah, flu, blah, blah, but I can't even read. I have to find one. But they would literally like just be totally nonsense. And it was cool. It was like you learned that words are just really sounds. And I mean, think of like any urban like slang or anything. Like when people change words and slur stuff, combine things together and make shit sound cool.
German.
Yeah, but even just like here, like when we.
Oh, do you need a word for something that requires multiple words? Just put them all in one word.
Why you guys limit yourselves to 2 words?
Yes.
We do 20 words in a row. But we actually have a word called 20 words in a row.
You know the crust that is in your eyes when you wake up. Well, in German you have to say that it is eye crust from when you wake up from sleeping. So it is the Jollenkrasten Waffenschlafen, and that's the eye crust. And that is how German works. If you need to make new words, you just do it.
Just slam them together.
You just slam them together, and you just put the words together, and then you can make words for anything you can possibly imagine. There's probably a word for anything you can possibly imagine, but I don't know it.
Imagine pooping, Kirfen, Schnuben. I think.
Yeah,
I think that's German for anything you can imagine.
Yeah, I think that sounds correct.
That is correct. I'm imagining Billy Madison again, where he starts doing the sexy teacher thing with Chris Farley. Where he takes off an article of clothing for every question he gets right.
A German Chris Farley?
Yes.
That's correct.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's
better. Yeah, that was good.
Right. Wow. This is an interesting show. Okay, here's something cool. It's totally not Bitcoin related anymore or German related. It's Twitter related.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Twitter related.
Mm.
It's this is kind of cool.
You've used the German Twitter?
Yeah. Ja, Twitter.de.
TVTTR. Twitter.
There's no A. AR.
Twitter.
You didn't put. Anyway, it's there's apparently this thing in Twitter for developers, and for like linking to almost anything is what I'm taking from it. They're called cards, and it's like you can take a bit of information from your app and put it in a card, which can then be shared. So this is apparently blowing up into like the gaming world, and it's opening a lot of possibilities. Like now you can, while you're playing a game, like hit share, it'll kind of like make a little faux map of like your screen showing your statistics or whatever. You can do anything you want.
Sure.
And then share it on Twitter. And it's all built in, like it's a Twitter part of their system. So it's apparently this is a really cool way for developers now when they're releasing stuff. They can track things that you can track through Twitter in sharing stuff from their apps. And it's a really nice, seamless experience. It reminded me a lot of the PlayStation 4 stuff that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Where like when you're just playing your game, like share it with the stuff. And I mean, a lot of this relies on developers to implement it. But if you're a developer, like making a game or whatever the hell it is, I'm excited to play around with this a little bit and see how we can share like podcast clips and stuff once we get the site out.
Yeah.
This is a... But apparently, yeah, it is a big deal for the gaming world. And I read an article, I think it was on Y Combinator. It was about that. It was like Twitter just became a games platform is what it's called. And I'll link to it. But this is it's a cool way you can build up hype and stuff, like when you unlock a treasure chest in mobile Zelda that I wish existed. You could.
You can just make a game that's basically designed to be a Zelda game, but just not be Zelda.
Yeah, it's just like almost the same game with like slightly different characters.
Yeah.
In like a little bit different scenario.
Yeah. His name is Lunk.
Not that close. I used to always name, when I played, at least for Nintendo, I would name the character Zelda. And then it would never make sense. Because it was like Zelda is looking to find Princess Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know Robin Williams' daughter's named Zelda?
Yeah.
After Zelda?
He named both of his kids after video game characters.
What's his other kid? Super Mario?
Yeah.
That was an amazing joke. I should
but oh god, what is his other kid's name? I don't know, but they're both video game characters.
Cool.
There's something about it because he loves video games. Like Robin Williams fucking loves video games.
That's sick.
So
Slick Rick.
I can't remember what is it a daughter? I don't know, but I know that it's two video game things.
I got a little trick up my sleeve.
A little wick up your sleeve?
A little goog up my sleeve.
Oh, do you see that the Taser, the company who...
Is that his other kid's name?
No, but Taser, the company that popularized the use of tasers, basically, are outfitting police with Google Glass style like cameras on their heads or whatever, so that they can like capture all of the video of like when the police are using their stun guns and stuff. But Taser gets to keep all the videos, and they're like locked and encrypted on their servers, and like no one else gets to see them. So it's like Taser's gonna have a first-person view of a bunch of police work, good and bad, and they're just going to lock it away into their own servers and not let anyone
That's crazy. Someone's gonna hack that shit.
I want them to. No, the thing the other day. So, and we talked about this too. The police who couldn't find the suspect, and then they posted the video up. These police. I don't know if we did talk about it. I think maybe you and I just talked about it. But there was the NYPD released this.
NIPT for short.
Yeah, they had this suspect in a really brutal mugging in the subway, and couldn't find anything. Couldn't figure out who did it. And so they posted on Gawker, and within a minute, someone
That's
sent
awesome.
them yeah, that guy's this, and he lives here, and he's around at these times, and go get him. And
That's awesome.
and it's one of those things where
America's Most Wanted on crack.
Well, people are so scared of, and this also leads into another story about the NYPD and surveillance.
Oh dear.
But the people are so scared of living in a surveillance state, right? But we did definitely talk about this before. It's not about you want cameras everywhere. It's just you want access to that information. It's the cameras everywhere is not the problem. It's the fact that cameras everywhere just goes to the man's computer and then he gets to look at it.
Well, I mean, there's a part of it that's Google gets a lot of personal information from you that they use totally anonymously, and they get a lot of good data about people on the whole that they don't necessarily they specifically don't use it to know any one person.
Right.
But if that data gets into the wrong hands, it can definitely be used like that. That's kind of a good thing. I mean, to be only in the hands of that rather than do you think everyone should have everyone's data that Google has about you that they keep private?
I'm not even talking about data.
But
I think that's a totally separate issue.
No, I think it's
cameras.
similar because cameras just are video data of everything that's going on.
Yeah, but that captures actions.
But no,
that captures
you
actions.
know what Google captures? They know they can tell a lot from the fucking emails you send, and they know a lot of private stuff about you that cameras would never catch.
But it's not admissible as evidence in a court case.
It is if a law enforcement agency gets access to your email account, which happens something what was that, 2,000 cases in the last couple years.
There's no. What
but
is
they
there
can
a
get
video
that.
of me beating someone up?
Well, I don't know.
I'm speaking to the camera part of it.
Right. I'm generalizing more into just broad data. I mean, being in the right or wrong hands.
I think they're incomparable.
They're not because they're both data. They're both data in the hands of one company, and what they choose to do with it. I think in this case, they can take a lot of that data. I don't think they're going to be using it, to get back at the cops or anything. But they can use a lot of that data to refine their equipment and stuff, and they can use that anonymously. So you get a lot more data that wouldn't necessarily be acceptable to the public that you can kind of get to one company, and I think that's the parallel.
Sure.
So I don't know. I think
it's not about being worried about being in a surveillance state. It's being worried about who controls the surveillance.
Right. Because I think we already are in a surveillance state, whether or not you see it. I think is my point.
If we can use them too, that's a big deal.
Right. Well, I think anything that's public like that, the public should have access to. If the public is being watched, the public should have access to it.
Yes.
It's I'm totally for all openness like that, and I think emails are a different story because they are a private thing. It's I do worry that sometimes that data that Google has or something may fall into the wrong hands. If there was a giant hack or something, but fortunately they're a giant company that has a lot of engineers to protect against that stuff. So I don't really feel too bad about that, but I can foresee just a scenario where that.
And if you're worried about that, just encrypt your emails.
Well, that's easier said than done.
I mean, hardly. Get a thing that encrypts your emails.
Yeah, but that's
50 of them.
There's a lot of people who have a hard enough time just setting up a regular email address and checking that.
Those people probably aren't worried about Google spying on them because they're probably not doing too much on their email.
Yeah, and actually, I think that was one of the things that Nolan Bushnell was heavily invested in. I don't know how involved he was, but one of his most current companies was put out to take Twitter data, Facebook data, and I think emails, and encrypt those so that when you do send that private stuff, it's not interceptable. Yeah. And that actually was a thing that came up the other day. The DEA was trying to intercept some messages being sent back and forth, but because they were using Apple's iMessage or whatever, it might just be called Messages. I think their messaging app.
Yeah.
It's that all that data is encrypted. So they tried to intercept it, but they couldn't read it because it was all encrypted data. And I was like, fuck yeah, encryption.
Suck it, DEA. Fucking assholes.
And I think that is the future. We need to have encryption between data, but now there's really cool protocols and stuff like where it's like direct peer-to-peer stuff for video streaming and things like that, where like you can connect to a website, and rather than like going from like a server like into another system, and it's like you just directly connect to someone else's computer, and then you two are like in connection. There's no one else that can intercept that, and that's really cool. But there's a lot of interesting other things that come up when you deal with the main infrastructure. You want to have cryptography and stuff. But it's cool to see the people are making stuff for the people like that too, like a big company like Apple.
Well, that's the thing is the people need to understand that they're the powerful ones.
Yeah.
Because the 4 dudes, the 7 dudes who control this planet couldn't do shit without the rest of us, without the 7 billion. So
it's just unfortunately, like we need to band together when they can do a lot with one person.
And then they have,
but it's not
they
that
have all
we
these tools
totally
like politics and media and stuff that's divisive to keep us from being able to come together to stop them from being assholes.
But really,
it's amazing how
we just got to use these brains, and
easy the system is to like understand, and how difficult it is to just break it.
But if we're all playing to try and get on equal footing, I think it's definitely doable, and that's what I love about the hacker community. Is that they're very big into kind of leveling the playing field and letting everyone get a fair shot.
Well, and that's what it's about. I mean, Anonymous has never gone out and attacked someone just to like attack them and just fuck them up. They always do it in response to some shitty thing that they did, and it's like bringing them back to balance. It's like the North Koreans recently, since the North Koreans have been all shitty, Anonymous hacked North Korea and stole like 30,000 of their passwords and said, "Stop being fucking dicks."
Yes, that's awesome.
It's shit like that where it's like the community is the power, and when you start to have these groups that will fight on behalf of the community, it actually works. Because the thing is, you have these institutions, like the man has all these institutions set up. The man has all law enforcement, government, the whole planet has been slowly being set up over thousands of years to work.
The man is becoming a cyborg, and we have control over the robotics.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
So let's keep working together to make those.
Because before the man actually had to be a man in a room, and now it's
it is. Oh yeah, most of the power that comes like from like people who control a lot of like the markets and stuff. They have algorithms that are trading, on the millisecond.
Right.
And it's like if you're 2 milliseconds behind the next guy, you lose. That was in that Speed episode that they talk about the pitch drop on Radio Lab. They talk about that stock trading stuff too, and it's absurd.
Well, when I was getting into like the whole,
it used to be people on the floor. I need this stock. This. But now it's just...
Dude, the video of the guy, if you have like $250, you can get an account on this website that's like a trading website, and you can just play fucking put options all day. So you just you just play the currency put options, and you just look at like the dollar versus the euro, which is like the most, consistent currency exchange on the planet. And then you just look, and if it's trending down, you put a put option on it. And you just keep doing that, and then you make a fuck ton of money, because it's like super predictable, and it's really low risk, and you can just make unbelievable amounts of money. This guy made like $7,000 in a week or something just playing put options. With like, the most he ever put on a single put option was like $120
That's what's really cool, because what you can do with stuff like that is there can be... you don't even have to rely like on your own totally like know-how of the system. You have these algorithms that can assist you and say like now's a good time like to bet this way or whatever, and then so you use these abstracted tools to then like you make your own judgments on top of that, but they take so much of this data and just get it all ready for you, and you wouldn't be able to play that fast and that frequently and stuff without the digital stuff. But it's cool. But coming back to Community. We watched the latest episode of Community. And I'm trying to remember which one. This was with the dance, wasn't it?
Yeah, the dances. Multiple dances.
What were the dances?
The one dance was a sock hop, and then the other one was... what's her name from the 90s who had 2 songs?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Something with an H in the middle.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sarah Hawkins or something?
Yeah, something like that.
I feel like we're obligated to look this up really quick.
Something B. Hawkins. I don't know.
Was it Susan?
Yeah.
She meant to say Susan B. Anthony.
Yeah, but
but she Britted it.
Yeah.
And she said
Susan B. Hawkins.
Was it Susan?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh, God. I just don't want to sound like an idiot.
You're talking about feminist rock from 1993.
Wait, here it is, I think, on the...
I don't know.
Sophie B. Hawkins.
Okay.
Sophie B. Hawkins.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, so, yeah. But before that, like, the Dean came in all in his crazy white makeup.
Yeah.
He
tried to make it so he looked black and white.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It was good, and then, so Britta then, after she messed up, kept trying to cover her tracks, and then actually had to try and get Sophie B. Hawkins to come and be at the dance, and
damn, I wish I was your lover.
Yeah, Dan's actually a diehard fan. He's been pretending not to know her name, but he every night before he goes to bed.
That's how I cover up.
Yeah,
that's how I cover up.
I get it.
I'm like, who's that? I don't know anything about that.
But this was it was a really good Abed. Both Abed and Pierce had really good, I think, storyline.
I like these last couple episodes.
It was actually a good redemption episode for everyone.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of redemption. Everyone's getting it.
Yeah, because Jeff and Britta had moments in here where they both kind of it was like, oh, they're awesome. And then Abed, he had a whole situation where Annie and what's her name? Shirley. Yeah, when they both tried to hook him up with a date for this this dance, and then he wanted to act like it was a sitcom and go between the two. Yeah. So that all played out in a very interesting way. Don't want to give too much away.
Those antics. I just love the post-credit thing. Was great.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. They've been going. I like that they've not been just doing the Troy and Abed.
Yeah.
They were always really funny and all their stuff, but they've been broadening out into just more abstract, fun little ending things.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, Pierce, he's been getting some good episodes, which is really nice. Do you think that's because of the staff change? Dan Harmon wasn't on there anymore and stuff. I know he was kind of outspoken about Chevy Chase is a dick.
Yeah, well, most people...
they were both at one another.
Most people in the industry are pretty outspoken about Chevy Chase being a dick.
I don't know. A lot of the people on the community cast and stuff say he's not. They're he's kind of normal. But he, like Sydney was saying, when he was around those people just for a day, which isn't a lot of evidence, but he said he was just kind of in and out, and that was about it.
Yeah.
But so I have no idea what he's really like. But at least as a character, it's kind of good to see him.
Yeah.
Get a little bit. You don't want to see everyone always on the dumps.
Everyone had to grow this episode.
Yes.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, yeah, that was the theme. They were very clear about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We also watched Hannibal.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of an interesting TV show to come up around that Bates Motel. 2 movies about horror films. But I enjoyed them both. This one was a bit... Actually, I kind of said Bates Motel was a bit dextery. This one was more dextery than that one.
Way dextery.
Oh yeah, because it's the basic plot of it is about this detective Graham.
Yeah,
I don't know his last name. He's a white guy, so I'll call him Graham Cracker.
Will Graham.
Yeah.
From Red Dragon.
I just want to call him Graham Cracker because it was a funny joke I came up with.
Red Dragon? Yeah, Red Dragon.
You know they call white people crackers.
Yeah.
Graham Cracker. So yeah, maybe Will Graham. That sounds right.
Red Dragon.
Yeah. I think so.
The furthest back on the timeline. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's what this is Yeah. This is based on. So Will Graham, the detective there, he's it's about him who can imagine and really put himself in the minds of some of the killers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Who he himself so far hasn't revealed to be a killer or anything like Dexter, but he has that same uncanny ability to look at a crime scene and piece together exactly what people were thinking. Though I guess the plot of the series will be the more he is exposing himself to these crime scenes and running himself through these imaginative exercises, the more that starts to affect him and he has to deal with not really like becoming one of these people.
Yeah.
But
there was if you read the Thomas Harris books.
I saw the movies, and like there was one based on that, but
way off. Way off. No, seriously.
Yeah.
Like way.
We'll have to get it. I'll get it on Audible.com. The rest of you guys head over to soundtest.us and click the Audible link. Go listen to the book.
The reason why Julia Moore was Starling in Hannibal was because Jodie Foster was like, no, this is nothing like.
Interesting.
See, the thing was in the books, Hannibal Lecter, his game is about manipulating the people to like indulge in their dark side. So like when he's psychoanalyzing people or anything like that, like while he's in the jail cell or anything like that, his game, which is one interpretation of the novels, but it seems to be, I mean, basically in the end of the Hannibal book, Starling becomes like one of his disciples.
Okay.
And Hannibal was going to be the first one of those movies that was like dead on, because Silence of the Lambs was good. Yeah, but it wasn't like. I mean, no movie is just like the book.
Right, but I haven't read any of the books. I've just seen, I've only seen the movies.
But yeah, Lecter's game is all about tapping into your darkest parts of your brain and then helping you unleash them and like turn.
Well, crazy. It definitely seems like. I guess in the preview he's like, "Be careful that you're not becoming him" or something. Yeah. So it definitely seems like he's playing that role in here.
Well, and that's what in all the books, like, I don't remember what happened to Will Graham, but...
Well, we'll have to tune in to find out. But, like,
Starling, eventually, when she catches up with him in, like, Hannibal, she, like, she's, like, obsessed with him. By the end of Silence of the Lambs, she's, like, obsessed with him, and then by the end of Hannibal, she becomes, like, his disciple.
Yeah.
And so it's, like, one of those things where you start to see where... Hannibal Lecter, while he's crazy and he's a cannibal and does all this other shit, well, he's not crazy. He's
that's what one of the things when this Will Graham character was putting together like the pieces, he kept saying like he doesn't fit like the bill of a psychopath. Like he's emotionally connected to these people. Mm-hmm. He's not like that, like totally detached.
Yeah,
and he's a psychiatrist, like a renowned psychiatrist. The reason he's actually in here is not because he's a suspect. It's like he's helping them, like solve this, and he's
which lends itself very well to the books.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's like kind of Dexter's like these two characters in one,
mm-hmm.
but like where he's committing the crimes and everything too, and then on the inside. But it's not straight Dexter. I'm just drawing parallels.
No.
But and like I said, I haven't read the book, but I do know it's supposed to be based on the book. So hopefully it'll stay relatively true to that. But I do imagine there will come a point, if it stays on the air for so long, they'll start to diverge from the book just because you have to come up with more plots and stuff than like what happens in there. That's like what happened with True Blood and stuff. I think they kept going away from the book
because it gets really easy when you're in this situation because. How hard is it for them to fabricate a case that the FBI has?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they can draw this out as long as they.
It's like Dexter. Like Dexter, they could technically have endless B-roll content. This kind of shit. Because what do you need for Dexter to happen? You need the police to be after somebody, and he goes and gets them instead.
Right.
Is pretty much Dexter. So all you need for Dexter to work, and that's not. To boil it down and say, like, all the complex character
right, no, that's just the basic, reduction of it.
Reduction plot of Dexter, all you need is Miami Metro to have a serial killer case. Yeah. And then that's it. You just gave Dexter the reason why the episode or the next season's going to happen. Not once again, not to discredit all the very deep, complex interpersonal relationships of the characters and all that, but at the very core of what Dexter is, and I feel it's the same with a lot of the police dramas or detective dramas, is you just need cases, and there's so many things that could be crime. I mean, like, how many fucking episodes of CSI were there? How many CSIs were there? How many Law and Orders were there?
Oh, and how formulaic were those?
Yeah, you can come up, as long as you have a solid formula, you just can just churn shit out for as long as until your audience thinks it sucks. You know, it's not hard to come up with ideas of like how.
That's the problem. Yeah, it's like, you know, and then they try and spin it and stuff, and like when the audience starts to get a little bored, you want to throw in some like wrenches there.
Well, and that's what Dexter does.
Yeah,
you know,
when killed off some like the Guerta this season.
Yeah, well, when you start with Dexter, it's like, oh, okay.
Sorry, spoiler alert. Hope you guys have seen.
When the Dexter show begins, you're like, oh, okay, so this guy's like forensics and he's a serial killer. But then when that idea was kind of like, they're like, by the way, this guy's his brother, and you're like, whoa, what? And that, you know, and it just keeps building and building, and then they throw extra little wrenches into the cogs.
And I mean, it does get a little crazy sometimes when, like, you know, it gets like, how does he get out of every friggin' situation? Yeah. Sometimes it's just so lucky.
He's like a forensics nerd who's a serial killer, but they act like he's like a fucking ninja or so, like Superman. Like, he just disappear. Like, a couple seasons ago when Deb almost caught him with Julie Stiles, and they're and she like talked to him through the plastic or whatever, and it's like there were fucking cops all over that place. How the hell did he just like sneak out? You know, it's like, and how does no one ever know that it like his fucking Ford Escape is right there? Like, the cops don't recognize his car that comes to every goddamn crime scene that they have where there's blood.
Yeah.
You know, there's just like little things where you're just like, okay.
But that's what's cool about like the last season, like where it did piece a lot of things together.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they were onto him, but then he got rid of the problem.
Mm-hmm. As he tends to do.
Oh, man, okay. Well, I think that brings us to our final segment, the Reno.
The thorax.
Mm-hmm. Thorax. Oh boy, I don't remember what the hell. What did we talk? We talked a lot about Bitcoin, but we already did the exchanges in pot. Mm-hmm. What else do we talk about on today? Wesley Snipes going to
taxes. We could stretch it.
Weed and taxes.
We can stretch it because Alabama's proposing to.
Actually, weed and taxes is good, and we've talked on this a little bit in the past, but. That's one of the big reasons why legalization of weed is such a promising thing for people who don't even really care about the social ramifications. There's so much money.
Which there are a lot less people who are against it as of today than there were a year ago.
Well, and you like even on like on Fox News and stuff, there were a lot of pro Prop 19 stories when that was around. When it was a legalization effort in California.
Yeah.
And I mean, like Sarah Palin and Glenn Beck were both like. On board, which are not two people you should ever take your advice from. But to see some people that are a little bit out there like that,
that's why it's such a
and they're big. Well, they actually were both. They were both really good about it because they talked about how the physical effects aren't dangerous, and the fiscal benefits are huge. I believe in California, on the low end of the estimate, it was about $1 billion a year. That's what the taxes would pull in. And I think it was estimated then up to like 10 or more, but a lot of that's unknown. It'll be interesting to see in like Colorado how they actually, if that is really big for the state.
Colorado starting their pot tourism.
Yeah.
420 tours.
Yeah, well, and I love. I hope the DEA doesn't get in, but remember that memo that like you guys better act now or it's going to be too late. So hopefully. All that'll pan out.
For those of you who don't know 420 tours, you can take a trip to Colorado, and it's basically they tell you like where all the pot-friendly hotels are and like where you can.
Yeah, no longer do you need to go to Amsterdam.
Yeah, you just keep it American, baby.
Stay here.
Keep it American.
Actually, we do got to find a time when we can get out to Colorado and explore that world, see what it's like. Oh God, that is Because I mean, I've got a little bit of taste of that in like the medical world, which is a really good example of how you can do the totally legal thing.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of the money from the medical stuff does go to the states, and that's why cities like San Francisco are totally in favor of it. They're like, it's not causing like any problems. These like dispensaries aren't putting a lot of like crazy people on the streets. They actually take a lot of care to make sure like the front of their stores and things are presentable and there's not a lot of ruckus going on. Yeah, they don't let you like smoke in front of it. Yeah, it's like you go in there and it's like a chill environment.
Yeah, it's not like a methadone clinic where you just have like junkies like chilling outside waiting to get their fix. It's like dudes who just
well, it's usually outside as like a security guard, and then they like you just go inside, and inside it's super chill. You're just hanging out. You can smoke, you can chat, you can whatever. Some of them have food, some of them have tea and stuff.
Yeah,
and they have board games. It's a lot of fun, and it's just like a really cool environment. And I've talked and just hung out with so many people at those places that I totally wouldn't have otherwise.
Right.
Because we're all just hanging around, passing around the joint or the vapor bag, whatever it is, and just having a good time. And we're all like, we can all bond over at least one thing. But we usually find a lot more that we actually bond over because of this wonderful icebreaker that is weed.
Yeah,
they're bringing a ton of money back to the community too.
There are so many states talking about this legalization. I really hope we can get to a point within the next year or so. Here's the thing: is I want Obama to legalize weed federally.
Oh yeah.
I want him to do it.
A lot of people do.
Really fucking soon though, because
this
if he
is
does
when
it,
he has a chance.
Right. Well, but if he does it like right before he's not president anymore, what's the next guy gonna do?
Well, it depends who the next guy is.
Yeah. You know, but it's just a very one of those things where when you have like this last campaign where his whole first term was spent fighting on behalf of healthcare for Americans, and then you have Romney running against him saying the first thing I do when I'm president is get rid of the shit that we've been wasting 4 years of our government's time on. It's like there are people who are stupid enough to do that. That it would just to make a point. They'd be like, well, now it's illegal again. Fuck you.
Yeah, well, and I don't know, but I think even like with all the money in it, it's I don't even know why people are so against it. It's just like I think there's a lot of miseducation on the matter. And a lot of people are getting educated now, and we are getting more unilateral support.
That's the only way any stupid shit happens in this world is that people aren't educated.
But it's great that there are things like Colorado and Washington happening where they can lead by example, because that's ultimately what you have to do. You have to say, look, we can do this. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, this actually makes the economy, it makes the community, it makes everything better. It's,
which we've all already known this.
Right. Right. Yes. And that's one of the things that I really find frustrating is that when Obama was first running, like before he was president, he had said that he wasn't for legalization at the time, but he was for decriminalization.
Yeah.
So I think at a minimum, he should decriminalize it federally and get rid of the fucking DEA working on marijuana.
Fuck the DEA. Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, there are times, when you get these crazy, like, violent cartels and stuff, sometimes they do, bust up a couple guys, but they really aren't focusing their efforts and they're not smart about it.
No.
They're burning up all these big weed grow-ops and stuff.
Burning money. They're just burning money.
Yeah.
Basically. They're just burning money and medicine.
Exactly, yeah. Whenever they do this, someone has to start out over their whole grow-op.
Weed is like gold penicillin. And all they did was just burn it all off. They're like, fuck it, we don't need this.
Yeah, well, and they say it's like it's an easy job for them. They know they're losing, but it's like there's always work.
And they make $100,000.
There's always like work for them to do. It's like
make $85,000 to $120,000 a year to fucking roust hippies and burn down forests and shit.
Yeah,
it was a great job.
There are much bigger problems in the world, my friends. Not that you're necessarily my friends, but. I should at least be cordial.
Bigger problems? What could be bigger than people actually being...
What could be bigger than marijuana?
What could be bigger than... What could be a bigger problem than American citizens enjoying their lives and not having to turn to intense pharmaceutical companies just to feel happy when they wake up?
Well, the reason weed's ever been illegal has never been for actual scientific reasons.
Just racism.
It's been racism, business. There have been a lot of reasons that aren't based on science, and like when Nixon was in the office, he actually had a commission like look into it and did a study, and they recommended that it should be legal. There are no major health problems or anything like that would come from it. It's like a totally safe thing. He's like, never mind. We're just gonna call this war on drugs here, and and just totally disregard any of that. And there have been tons and tons of studies, but since then it's been so hard to get any like federal studies because that's all limited. And
that was my favorite headline this week was marijuana is winning the war on drugs.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah. I felt like when in the first on Hoth
Space Weed?
No, on Hoth, like in Empire, when the
highest grossing independent film of all time?
When they take down the first AT-AT, and it just cuts back to the hangar, and everyone's like, yeah! That's what I did inside as soon as I read that headline. It was just a bunch of rebel fighters inside me going, yeah!
Well, I think we're definitely getting our time, between the digital currency and the marijuana. It's like the people who've been repressed, it's
and
like
civil rights too.
A lot of it's tied. A lot of these people that fight for like marijuana rights and whatever are in the same camp of like fighting for civil rights, and a lot of that, core values overlaps one another. So.
Yeah, the core value of people should just be happy and enjoy their lives.
Well, that's the people who are for gay marriage, for equal rights, for. Yeah, just equal rights across the board for
because they understand that we're all humans and we should just be happy.
Schools shouldn't have 2 proms, one for the integrateds and one for the whites.
Hey, the kids are fighting that one.
Yeah, where's that in Georgia?
Yeah, in Georgia. Georgia's holding 2 proms for a high school in Georgia, not the whole state. But although, how many people are in high school in Georgia? Anyway, so there's a high school in Georgia that's holding 2 proms, and one of them is segregated, and one of them's a whites only, and then one of them is a whites only prom, and then the other prom is a integrated prom. Yeah. So it's not just that like white prom, black prom. The white kids get 2 proms out of this deal.
Yeah, I mean it's still fucked up. There shouldn't be a whites only prom. I think that's illegal. I was looking at federal civil rights legislation, and I will link to this page you guys can read through and see if you can find stuff. It specifically says you can't discriminate in places of work, in places that are tied to the state funds and things, which I think a school would be. It doesn't explicitly say a school. It doesn't say
state funds if it's federal funds.
No, it says in the federal legislation it says state things. So it's only one of a few things.
Yeah.
But that's where. Let's all look through it and see what we can find.
It doesn't matter if it's illegal. Stop being bigoted assholes.
Well, yes.
Hey, South.
But when it's illegal, then you can get shut down and you can restart the system more appropriately. And unfortunately, sometimes
what Georgia cops are gonna go and do and be like, well, we're gonna bust up.
Well, that's why they're not. That's why it needs to be a federal issue, and that's. I mean, I'm not saying it's right to infringe on states' rights, but I don't think the states have this right. That's what.
At least they shouldn't.
Right, and from what I was reading in the federal civil rights legislation that was passed in the '60s, there are some things that the federal government does have power over the states. So states only get the rights when the power is not granted to the federal government.
That's the same legislation that made corporations people.
Well. It's not all good, it's not all bad, it just all is what it is.
Isn't it amazing how oppressed people can fight so hard just to be recognized as equals, and some asshole group of lawyers sneaks shit in to make sure that in the same respect that black people finally get to be considered human beings in this country, so do companies.
Yeah.
So here, just slip this one in real quick.
Yeah. It's
so bullshit.
There's a lot of shitty legislation too, but there is some protective stuff, and that's a thing to take away is that the government, there's a lot of shitty things, and you need to pay attention and fight back when they're not being fair about what they're supposed to be being fair about. We do all deserve civil rights. We deserve equal rights. We are all in this together, but the government has power, so. It is what it is. We have a voice, and that's all we can do. Be outspoken. Let the government know. Start rallies, sign petitions. Let your Congress people know what to do. You write enough letters, give them enough of a stink about it, they're going to realize they have to do something, or they're not going to get reelected.
It's technically law in this country that if a representative is not doing their job, the people who he represents can literally walk into Congress and pull him out and say, you don't work for us anymore.
That's cool.
That's in the Constitution. You're allowed to, if you're
You're all to whoop ass in Congress.
No. But the people who are being represented, because this was part of the whole reason why we broke away from England, was because we were being represented. And the idea is that if you are being ill-represented by your representative, you have a power as a U.S. citizen and a voter to remove them from office.
Yeah. Well, their title is representative. Yeah. They're supposed to be a representative. Representing your values.
And that's why it's shitty when you have like all this gerrymandering and stuff like that, because it specifically makes it so that some rich white dude is a representative of a super impoverished poor black neighborhood in Alabama.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's the kind of shit that is what this country was founded on stopping. And the powers that be still keep trying to figure out a way to hang on to the old world bullshit. It's this old world bullshit. We just can't let go. Just let go. Let go of the old world bullshit. Can we just move forward, please?
Well, we are moving forward. But I think a lot of it comes from, like, now the way we can move forward is by sidestepping a lot of these things. Like, we can do a lot of our business and things on the internet, and we can live in, like, these alternate worlds, so to speak, and there's a lot of justice, like in the open source community and like the digital currencies. And we're getting more outlets to connect with other like-minded people and work together to kind of circumvent the system and hopefully, try and make some change in there. And I like to feel at least like that's happening.
It is happening. The internet is powerful. You know why? Because all the old rich white men in Congress have no fucking clue what a computer does.
Yeah.
And so that's why the
people who used to be able to filter all your information.
Exactly. Can't do anything.
Yeah,
now.
They're losing all of that power.
They can't do anything because the only people who make the internet work are the people who can code and program, and most of those are pretty progressive people.
Yeah, because they're informed, educated people.
Yes.
Who are not, in these extreme political, polarizations.
That's the biggest thing that we have going for us. Is the 70-year-old old money Atlantic Coast congressman has no fucking clue what the internet, what's a Twitter. Like, they don't know. And it's great because what they don't know is that we have a lot of power that they don't have. And they still...
Well, I think when a lot of times they do realize that, power. And when they realize that, they get scared and overreact, and then try and introduce, CISPA and stuff.
And then they try to shut down the internet.
Yeah.
Like, wait a second, there's a place that we can't enslave people. Shut it down.
Yeah.
Quick, wait, people are using money that means that they don't have to use money that's by this private cartel of banks. Shut it down, quick. Shut it down. The people are breaking free of our status quo system. Quick, shut it down. Shut it all down. Burn the whole thing. Let's just fucking send a bomb to the core. We're just gonna shut this
you gotta be
down.
Careful what you say, Dan, on the internet. You can't say bomb.
That's right. I'm also giving Kim Jong-un ideas.
I heard a tweet. I don't think it was real, but the guy from The Office, Dwight, whatever his name is, he tweeted that Andy Milonakis will be playing Kim Jong-un in an HBO biopic. I think it's a joke, but...
No, it's a joke. It's gotta be a joke.
Right. But that would be fucking hilarious. If they do that on, like, Funny or Die or something.
Yeah. It's... Yeah. We can't go on. I can't go on. We're just gonna keep segueing into 40,000 different things. I can't help it.
You're segueing.
I can't help it.
I'm taking my segue out of this show. You can keep going, but I'm gonna head out.
You can't start me on politics.
Oh my God, I'm falling.
You can't start me on politics. It's too...
I know. So that was good. That was good. I think, though, it is time to wrap this one up.
No.
And any last words of wisdom before we sign off?
You
have the power.
You, the person that whoever's listening
I'm pointing
to this right now,
to the person watching.
Sure.
Them.
You are the culmination of the universe trying to become self-aware. You are the product of billions of years trying to work towards the penultimate creation of life.
What is this?
You cannot
this sounds like
stopped.
religious talk.
You cannot be stopped.
I like that you are part of the universe evolving into being self-aware. I don't like that the universe has like this big plan that it's trying to coerce you into.
No, it doesn't. And that's not what I'm saying at all.
Okay, good.
What I'm saying is life.
You are part of this
life
giant
came out of
consciousness.
Nothing. Little spark eventually became a bunch of sparks, which is life. Okay? So, but you, as a human being, because that's who you probably are listening to this show.
Sorry, Glorgons.
Are the current best model in that process.
Right. I mean, there may be some other shit way out in space that we don't know about.
Yeah, sure.
But as far as like we can tell,
as far as we know,
we're the best there is.
You are the Lifebot 2000 of the future. Okay.
Yeah.
You are as close to living, as close to the best thing that the universe could come up with so far. So don't let some shitty people who are very short-sighted control you.
Right. Well, the thing is, the universe can't just like make it happen again. It's not like we just popped out of existence. This is billions of years of like evolving from these little things.
All of existence.
And if we die now, we have to start over from square one.
Yes. All of existence led to this.
Let's try and move forward and not just fuck ourselves.
Yes.
How's that? Nice reduction?
Sure, yeah.
We gotta get a nice soundbite in like 5 seconds. Mm. Let's not fuck ourselves. We're part of it together. Maybe not. Just let's not fuck ourselves. Oh, that's good. Alright, see you next time on Sound Test. Let's not fuck ourselves.
Toodaloo. Stop fucking yourself.
It's
like when you hold someone, like when you hold someone's hand and hit them in the face. If you hold their dick and hit them with their own dick, and you say, "Stop fucking yourself," right? Is that the?
Whoa.
Okay.
Well, stop hitting yourself, Dan. Stop hitting yourself.
Oh no, I'm hitting myself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't reach it into your butt, so I just started slapping your belly.
Oh, thanks.
I think that might be getting cut. You want to intro this one?
Sure.
We're 27.
Uh-oh, we've hit the 27 club. I hope we don't kill ourselves.
Only time will tell.
Welcome to episode 27 of Sound Test. We made it. I'm Dan Dugan.
Meyer. Damn it! I didn't think you were gonna do it. When you slip into like the "we're gonna do this," I don't know if it's coming. I'm sorry.
Well, you gotta have like a little subtext tagline.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it again. Let's go from the beginning.
Welcome to episode 27 of Sound Test. I'm Dan Dugan.
Hey, well, you're not going to do it this time?
No.
I thought you were going to do the tag.
Well, okay. Cut me off and fuck it up.
I thought we were redoing it so we could... Okay, I'm Max Meyer. Don't fuck yourself.
And today on Sound Test, we're going to talk about gold.
Gold rush.
That is internet gold in that Bitcoin.
And internet silver.
Internet silver and Litecoin. We're also going to talk about stuff. We watched some stuff.
Oh, yeah, we got reviews. We got Hannibal.
Yeah, we watched Community and Hannibal.
And Twitter.
Which I thought was going to be about the Carthaginian general. I was really disappointed. Yeah.
I don't get the reference.
I was really disappointed when there weren't like elephants crossing the Alps and shit invading Rome. It was kind of a turn and let down, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, write a letter.
I will.
When you write a letter to a TV station, every letter is worth 20 million people.
You guys need to be clear in your advertisement. You said Hannibal, not Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
Hannibal is a Carthaginian general.
Like when I saw Bates Motel, I thought it was about a bait shop near a motel.
Yeah.
Not like Norman Bates's motel.
Right. Because why would
I assume?
Why would that correlation exist?
It's just it's very ambiguous. I don't know.
Yeah. We talk about the way that the mainstream media has been covering Bitcoin.
Yeah, there've been a lot of coverage. We'll look into some of that.
Yeah.
And what's Wesley Snipes
all of a sudden,
up to?
Everyone's talking about it. What's up with that?
Wesley
media?
Snipes? Oh, the Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, and everyone's talking about Wesley Snipes too, because the Daywalker's free.
Oh. So yeah, let's listen in and see. Oh, and here's a tag. You'll get this later. Robin Williams' other kid is named Cody Allen. So I have no idea.
We'll look at it. It's from a video game.
Yeah, so
it's something.
Listen into the episode to see what the hell that's about.
Yeah! let's get this shit started.
Here we go! I have to pay for that Mario clip.